Hello, this is Mel, and I just want to say I am not okay. So far beyond okay right now, and I just like to start off with that because right now I'm going to talk about Supernatural episode 1518 titled Despair, rightfully so, which premiered Thursday, November 5th, 2020 on the CW, which just ended 15 minutes ago for me, and I am still not okay. I thought I was not okay last week with what happened with all the reveals and how it ended, but this week I am so not okay. And it's just, wow. But yeah, huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, because I am going to spoil the hell out of it for sure, because again, not okay right now, and I need to vent as I recap, if you know what I mean. So, check that out first, and then come back, see what they say. Other video reminders up screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. A quick YouTube shout out again to Rodrigo Rodriguez and also Brother Games for posting on my last video. Thank you so much. And let's just jump right into it. First thing first with what happened. This episode was directed by Richard Spade Jr., which Gabriel, Trickster, which I thought with what happened in this episode, very fitting, and I thought it's kind of like a multitude of reunions in that sense. So that's something there. But then also, this was the last episode the cast had filmed completely before the pandemic shut down production back in March. So let's put it into this. After what happened in this episode, could you, I don't even know, because say like if the reason why episode 13 to 18 didn't air when they originally were meant to air was because the pandemic shutdown didn't allow for post-production to do its job, right? So what if they were able to do their job, and imagine if the pandemic still happened and everything, but imagine if we still got 13 to 18 when we were supposed to happen, and then filming just stopped. Could you imagine stopping on this episode and then having to wait 6 months before we got the final 2 episodes? I'd be like, no, because with this cliffhanger in this episode, sorry for that, it was rattling a paper with my notes, but like, if we ended it and then I had to be stuck waiting 6 months to know what was happening in the final 2 episodes, I think I'd be pulling my hair out. Like, at least I only have to wait a week to know what happens in the next episode instead of 6 months. But like, could you imagine if they had done that? I mean, like, thank you. I just only had to wait as long as I did to get the 7 episodes, as opposed to just getting all of them but the last 2, you know? I just, like, that just blows my mind as well when you think about original air dates due to the pandemic and stuff like that. So that's just another what if tidbit there that I started off quickly. But going into my norms, so timeline-wise, I'm thinking it is still continuing from where the events of 15-17 have taken off. In my head, I'm thinking that after Chuck told them, we'll now watch Jack die, he just disappeared in a theater. He did his poof of teleporting out, and then it's Sam, Dean, and Jack rushing with Cass, rushing to get him comfortable, which is what we started the episode off with. So I'm assuming that's why it's a continuation. So there's that. Episode reminder, I'm just calling it Doomsday, because literally, like, what the fuck? For what happened in this episode, it's just, like, my mind's still blown, because, again, not okay right now. I'm going to repeat that so many times, because 15 minutes later, I'm still not okay. But episode storylines, or the breakdowns, pretty much 2, if you kind of get past what happened in the teaser, or what happened before the title card, if you will. First storyline is killing Death. Second storyline is saving the displaced survivors. That is those from other worlds, and also those from that were resurrected when they weren't supposed to be. Pretty much everyone who was resurrected is not supposed to be, according to Billy. So there's that. So with the first storyline with killing Death, we pretty much have Billy sending Jack to the Empty to detonate, which kind of pissed the Empty off. So there's that, and then he actually survived, but he came back powerless. But then Billy refuses to give Jack back once he brings him back to Earth, and because of this, Dean uses Billy's scythe on her, which slices her, and we revealed that it was actually a fatal wound. So whether he killed her now, eventually that wound in itself would slowly kill her. So that's something there. But they don't know that. So when everybody starts disappearing, they think it's Billy. So Dean plans to use her scythe against her and actually kill her to save all of his friends, which is very different from his thought last episode. But then Billy is more determined to kill Dean before she actually dies from his wound on her, so we get that thing there. But because it's Dean and Cass that are now stuck against a rampaging Billy, Castiel realizes that the MT is the only one that Billy fears and could actually take her out in her weakened state. So Castiel, in order to summon the MT to Earth, he realizes what his true happiness is, because that is once he realizes that, that's when his deal is fulfilled with MT and she will come and get him. So he reveals that happiness, and it allows for the MT to be summoned, and Castiel is taken away, as well as Billy, and Dean is left alone, which I will talk about his moment of happiness in a moment. But also, second storyline is the saving the displaced survivors. So that's people from we believe at the beginning that people from the apocalypse world are disappearing, so that's why they think it's Billy who's doing it, because she wanted to reset the order, and because Dean kind of sliced in her, they thought it was her payback to kind of disappear all of them before she became God, kind of a thing. So Sam has a plan, gather all the survivors so they can all be protected under strong, powerful warding. Instead, once he activates the warding, they still disappear, we as the audience know from Billy that that's Chuck who's actually having people disappear, kind of like what he did with Becky in the beginning of the season. I think it's 1502. But I don't know if Sam or Jack realized that it was Chuck's doing, because he pretty much snapped everybody away except with Jack and Sam being the sole survivors of their location. But then it turns out the last scene does show Sam and Jack alone, but they're not sure if they're the only ones left. Sam can't get a hold of Dean, but we also see like other locations around the world, and a lot of items are just displaced. So like people actually did up and disappear, kind of similar with a few of the other disappearances that happens in the episode, which I will mention in a moment. But then also we see Dean alone in the bunker getting the calls from Sam, but not answering them because he's still reeling of the fact of what happened with Castiel. So there's that. Tidbit-wise, though, we do find out that the MT is supposedly less powerful than God and Amara, which, I don't know, I thought that was odd. I thought, if anything, the MT would be on the same power level as God and Amara. Kind of like how Death was meant to be above all three of them, or maybe slightly below all three of them. I don't know, since God was meant to reap, or not God, the Death is meant to reap God at one point or another. So I'm not sure about the power levels there, but based off of what Billy said, she thinks the MT is less powerful than the cosmic twins. So there's that. We find out that Michael isn't answering Dean's prayers. He's the only other cosmic being on the playing field that could help them out. So there's that. We do have Jody and Garth being mentioned to be on standby through Donna, even though the three of them aren't really, they don't believe that they're on Billy's hit list. Turns out it's not Billy and her hit list. So that's something there. And then we also have Jack driving for the second time, because Sam needs Jack to drive so that Sam could research on the way. And then we have Jack believing to be powerless, yet he caused a plant to suddenly die. So this has me thinking he's becoming the new Death. Thoughts, please? But let's move forward. So Death Tally, End Tally, there's like a whole bunch. You have the fact that Stevie, Charlie's new girlfriend, being the first to disappear, which kind of sets everybody up to the fact that something was happening. We get Gary, I believe, which was one of Bobby's friends from the Apocalypse world, disappearing. We don't see it. It's implied, or it was mentioned. Eileen disappeared. Again, implied when Sam found her items left alone on the sidewalk, and she had texted a message to him, but it never got sent to him. So it's like, bye. And then we have Castiel getting killed, presumably killed because the MT takes him. We get Billy being presumably killed because the MT takes her. And then a whole bunch of other humans around the world implied to be dead because their items are just left away. And it's Chuck and his snapping of the fingers, doing the Thanos snap type of a thing. So there's a lot. Like, a lot. So there's that. Moving on to most shocking moment of the episode. Okay, so first off, I was surprised that that Chuck killed off Charlie and Bobby. And Eileen as well. We don't see her though, but yeah. So I was surprised by that. But they lined up with the fact that they're Apocalypse World or they were resurrected. So thinking if Billy won that they'd be gone. But the moment Donna gets taken out too, though, I'm like, oh, everybody's fair game kind of thing. And that just shocked me. And then to top it off of that, to get Castiel realizing his happiness so that the empty could take him, so that the empty could be there to take Billy with him as well so that Dean could be saved. I mean, you just literally... It's one of those moments where, like, I want special guests to come back to the show because I love their characters, but then there's that fear of, like, it's the episode that's going to kill them off, and literally this episode did it. We got Charlie back, she got killed off. We got Bobby back, he got killed off. We had Donna back, and she got killed off, and it's like, Billy came back, and she got killed off. I mean, like, what the fuck? So it's like, maybe I should not have you on the show, so I at least can think that you're off living being alive somewhere in the supernatural world. But that was a huge shock there. But let's go right into it in the fact with all the familiar faces. I think this has to be the biggest amount of familiar faces in an episode this season. We had Billy returning, naturally, because she's part of the main storyline. But we get the empty returning in the form of Meg, so that's one right there. We get the Apocalypse World Charlie returning. We get Donna returning, and then we have the Apocalypse World Bobby returning as well. So yeah, that's a lot more than I thought we would. I mean, technically we got mentions of Eileen, we got mentions of Jody, and we got mentions of Garth, but we don't see them, so that's a little disappointing. But yeah, I mean, it kind of doesn't matter because they're all dead now, literally. So again, what the fuck. But moving on to top 3 favorite moments, I will say a favorite I did like was a lot of the callbacks to Dean's relationship with Death, with Billy specifically as well, though. But I like the fact that we got Dean using the scythe again. Again, he used it when he killed the original Death at the end of season 10. Also, we get Billy's hatred for Dean specifically due to him being resurrected the first time in 401. She pretty much called him the first... I'm pretty sure Dean's resurrection from hell was the first disruption of order, she viewed it as. Because also, we do see Dean's help. I don't recall when it appeared, but when Dean got tossed to the floor, you do see a bloodied version of the scar handprint that Castiel gave him when he was pulled out of hell. I don't know how that came about, but we do see that on top of Dean's clothes and the return of that. So that was something there. I mean, you do get Billy even bringing up the fact that Castiel killed her the first time around, which resulted in her becoming Death. So that's something. But a huge favorite I did have was, and it's something I feared happening, but it was Dean. I really liked Castiel's speech to Dean, even though it led to Castiel's death, quote unquote. But I really liked that during the speech, Castiel revealed his deal that he made with the Empty. How in his moment of true happiness, that is when the Empty will come for him and take him away forever. And he did that deal in order to save Jack the first time around. Dean is very shocked by this, but then he's also wondering, why is Cass bringing this up now? And Castiel reveals that, well, in order for the Empty to be summoned, Castiel thinks that he would have to realize his true happiness so that it forces the Empty to come and take him away, as she promised. Or as she threatened, I should say. But what I really like the fact is that Castiel really, not only does Castiel highlight not only the viewpoint that Dean has on himself, but the viewpoint of what Castiel has seen in Dean and what everybody else sees in Dean and why they stay loyal to him. And it was the fact you see Dean seeing himself as a burden, being destructive, being a killer. We heard him say it just before Castiel said his speech. And then you have Castiel saying no, saying that everything Dean ever did was always for love, to always protect those he cared for. And it's a huge difference. And you can see it definitely moves Dean to see someone express to him the way they see him when he's always viewed himself in the negative. So I thought that was really fantastic. It's definitely something Dean needed here. But then I also like Castiel related it to him in the fact that knowing Dean, allowed for him to not only care for Dean, but to care for Sam, to care for Jack, to care for the world, where before Dean, he never really cared for humanity. And it made him be a better angel, or I guess a better person, because, yeah. So there's that. But then also, the thing I know is going to cause a lot of question is that Castiel actually told Dean that he loved him. Now, there's always going to be a question. I know Destiel fans are going to take that as either a romantic confession of love, and then non-Destiel fans are just going to say, like, no, it's probably just the platonic family version. But I can't tell. Like, to have such a profound confession be done by Castiel, and both performances well done between the two. I don't know how they've done it when we know behind the scenes Jensen and Misha are just pranksters, or definitely Jensen against Misha pranksters during scenes. But like for Dean and Cass in that moment, it's beautifully well done. But it just I can't tell whether it was romantic, platonic. I don't know. I honestly don't really care which it is, but I know a part of me is like, well, which way does it lean? I'm kind of sad that Dean wasn't able to give Castiel the same speech, kind of. But then Dean's like, well, why does this feel more like a goodbye? And he says, yes, it's meant to, kind of a thing. So, in one hand, Dean got to hear what I think he needed to hear. At the same time, I wish the same could be done for Castiel before he sacrificed himself. But it was just, I can't tell. But like, I love that speech. It was definitely something I've been dreading for Castiel to realize what his true happiness was and fulfill that deal he made with Empty. I mean, I thought I'd be getting that in the finale, like the when all the dust settles and like it's the final scene. I thought that is when we'd have to worry about his sacrifice. But to get it now, that's like, damn it. But like, truly emotional, truly like it hit. And it's just like, I can already imagine one reactor just going crazy for this whole episode. It's probably normally Adam. If you guys haven't seen his reactions, please go check those out. Because I always go there the moment that he posts them. Just to also rewatch the episode, but just to kind of react with him, kind of a thing. But this episode, I feel like it's gonna have him all over the place, I feel. But yeah, favorite thing, the speech that Castiel does. We can ignore the fact that he dies afterwards, but the speech itself and the meaning attached to it, I thought, was really great. So there's that. And I guess if you want to count all the familiar faces as a separate favorite moment, that's true too, I guess you can say. I mean, that's kind of a given. I love it when familiar faces come back, especially when you know it's the final moments. So I'll just add that anyways. It was great to see Bobby interacting with Sam. It was great to see Charlie interacting with both Sam and Dean. It was great to see Donna reacting to Sam and also to Jack as well, too. It was good to see a little moment between Jack and Donna as well. So that's something there. And then we do get a little bit with Megan and Jack, too, kind of. So there's that. Top 3 peeved moments. One peeve, I know it's small, was the fact that Dean ignores Sam's call in the final scene of the episode. I mean, I get why he ignored the call, because he's still reeling over the fact of Cass's confession, the fact that Castiel sacrificed himself to the Empty so that the Empty could kill Billy to save Dean. Like, I understand that Dean is reeling. He's like grieving over that. But then also at the same time, people are disappearing. Like, he knows that Chuck is making people disappear out of existence, and yet Sam is calling and not knowing that whether or not Dean is alive or not. So it's like, could you maybe just answer the phone and tell your brother that you're alive? Maybe. And just so that he doesn't think that it's just him and Jack in the world. Like, that was a peeve. Like, I understand on the one hand because it's an emotional moment for Dean and maybe he just doesn't want to talk, but then at the same time, it's like, everyone's kind of blipping out of existence with the Thanos snap, so it's like, could you maybe just tell your brother that you're still there so that he's not freaking out over whether the fact that you're dead or not, kind of a thing. So that's a peeve there. And another peeve, pretty sure everybody would say it with me, but is the fact that everybody is dead. That's a huge peeve, because first I thought, okay, you got rid of Eileen, therefore you ended Sam and Eileen, when we first still thought that it was Billy's doing it. I'm like, oh crap, you just got rid of Sam's happy ending right there for me. And then to go at it with, you got rid of Charlie, and then you got rid of Bobby, and then you got rid of Donna, and then you pretty much got rid of Cass after that. And then afterwards, you showed that you pretty much got everybody in the world got snapped out of existence. And it's like, what the fuck? I still have 2 episodes left. Like, what the hell are you gonna do now? So that's like a peeve. I mean, I guess it's good narrative-wise, but as a fan, I'm like, I'm peeved. You killed everybody. Like, how the hell are you gonna fix that? It's like it's gonna be a huge cosmic repercussions. And it also gave me like Avengers vibes, first off, with Infinity War and Endgame. But then it also gave me Crisis of Infinite Earths vibes when the antimatter wave destroyed all the worlds in the multiverse. And now we kind of see that happening now on Supernatural, even though we got bits of it starting in the earlier episodes of this season with Chuck. So it's just like a peeve that everybody's dead. It's like, I don't know, what are they going to do now? Kind of a thing. So there's that. So let's move on to random questions very quickly. I kind of already touched on this one, though, but the first one is, was Castiel's realization of his true happiness from the fact that his life was changed so greatly because he knew Dean, or was it because he accepted his love for Dean? Again, I honestly don't care which of the two it is. Platonic I love you, romantic I love you, I don't really care. The fact that it was even said is a statement in itself. But I'm just wondering what triggered the MT to decide, okay, that was the moment I should be taking you now, kind of a thing. Also, anyone notice the fact that Castiel said that when he realized his true happiness was something he can never attain, that's when it clicked for him? Did I remember that correctly? I don't know. Which has me maybe thinking it was a romantic confession? I have no idea. Please let me know in the comments. Maybe I have to rewatch my PVR recording later. There's that. Second question was, if Billy is dead by the hands of the MT, does that mean that Jack is now death? Does that mean if Jack is now death, that he can now read Chuck's death book and let the brothers know how they can kill Chuck once and for all? I mean, that's probably the only good thing that could come of Jack becoming death, if we're being honest. I still think that he is because of what happened with that plant. Which is kind of funny because that was kind of something I was writing for one of my, for my original drama. It was one scene that I had in mind, so it was kind of cool to see it here, but then also like, crap, do I have to change my idea now? So there's that. Second last question. Did anyone else have a thought about what it would be like if Dean was death? I mean, we did get him as Reaper before in season 6 for like a day, but like, why not? When he was standing the way he did with Death's scythe, I'm like, maybe? I mean, he did kill the original Death, so we know he knows how to use it. And I mean, he technically had a hand at killing Death twice, but like, you know how we had like Demon Dean? I'm like, well, what if we had Death Dean? I know that's got to be out there somewhere since it happened in 6/11. But like, did anyone else revisit that idea when Dean had the weapon in his hand? So that's one there. And last question, what will it take for the MT to actually go back to sleep? Is it the death of Chuck and Amara? Is it the death of Billy? And now the MT is able to go to sleep? It's like, what's it going to take to put it back to sleep? Plus, also, who else is confused by who's actually more powerful in regards to Death, the MT, Chuck, and Amara? In regards to that whole power level thing there. So that's something. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 1519, which again started filming at the end of August, I believe, we see everybody is gone. It's just Sam, Dean, and Jack left. But Dean finds a dog, but he won't give it shotgun in the car. Because, you know, his aversion to dogs. But he's just like, hey, maybe Chuck didn't kill everything, and he now has a pet. So there's that. Which actually has me thinking of that I Am Legend movie with Will Smith, and how he was a lone survivor for so long in a zombie apocalypse, and yet he only had a companion for a dog, or a companion and a dog. Dean finding the dog had me thinking of that a little bit. And then also, anyways, the promo continues with something being alive in the church, but Jack has no idea what they're walking into when they go inside. But there's that. The fact that everybody is gone, though, had me thinking more of like the Crotone episode, where it was like the town was completely empty. It also had me thinking of the episode where they dealt with the Horseman War in 502, when literally the town was wiped out before they found out there was a demon infestation. So there's that. It also reminded me of that one episode that Amara kind of took over a town and it was just a bunch of fog that was leaving the streets empty. Had me like the isolation feel if we didn't go to Walking Dead type of a feel thing. So, or any other dystopian, apocalyptic. I mean, technically you can kind of be reminded of Clark after Prime Fire happened on the 100, just with buildings. But there's that. But based off the synopsis, though, for the episode, it reads, first off, it reads carry on as the header. I mean, like, you're an episode premature for that. But it says, everything is on the line as the battle against God continues. A familiar face returns to join the fight. Based off behind the scenes, that familiar face has to be Michael in the form of Adam Milligan. Has to be. Right? I don't know what other familiar face would be, considering everybody else was just wiped off the earth. Right? So that is something there. I honestly have no idea, because when I also checked the synopsis for the series finale, there's no reference to what's going to happen. It just literally says this is the series finale for the longest running sci-fi American series. And I'm like, thanks for nothing to tell me anything. So I really have no idea what these final 2 episodes are going to go. But if we remember correctly from what Jensen has said in interviews, 15-19 kind of acts like the season finale of season 15, while 15-20 will act like the series finale of the whole show. So with that said, again, I have no idea what to expect in these final 2 episodes. But please, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode. Again, I am not okay, and I am 40 minutes after the episode has ended. Still not okay. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing from an audience perspective or from a creator mindset perspective. No idea. But please let me know in the comments down below what you thought. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, put the notification bell if you want to be on the nose when it comes to my updates. Not really. I try to be routine as best I can, but I know I kind of slip up sometimes. But notification can help you out with that. Also, don't forget to, if you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress and Tumblr, but Tumblr has my reblogs, posts, GIFs, clips, all that stuff. I'm forgetting it because, again, I'm not okay right now with what happened in the episode. WordPress, more organized, more detailed, but still work in progress. The live journal entry page link is down below. Jot noted recaps of the episode as I watch them for the first time. A little behind on that as well, but I've done it since season 6. So if you want to check those out, the link for that is down below to the page itself. I just have to color and format it before I make it public for you guys to see for the latest episodes. So there is that. But otherwise, that is pretty much it, guys. So I do have a video plan before the series finale. Now that I'm on my reading week for next week, I'm hoping to film it during then. Yeah, I really have no idea what to expect in these final 2 episodes. I hope you guys come back to see what I have to say about them, because I'm definitely sure it's going to give me quite an emotional ride. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Again, hope you come back next week. Until then, though, check out Julie and the Phantoms, because I'm still going to keep promoting that show, because I need a season 2. I'll repeat it again. I need a season 2. Give me some happiness in that. But yeah, so guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. Please stay safe during this pandemic. And have yourself a great day or great night, depending where you are. Bye for now.